Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install a louver on a 1999 Jeep Wrangler. This is the Sahara edition. It is the 4.0 liter straight six with automatic transmission, but your hoods are probably all pretty similar. So let's go ahead and get started. So obviously you can see I cleaned the area that the louver is going to go on, but what you'll need to do, so basically we're cutting out chunks on both sides of this support bar. So to start though, you're going to need to remove, essentially it's that rubber brace, so that piece right there, on both sides there, you're going to need to remove the washer fluid, little sprayers there, and then that connection bar, sorry it's hard to do with two hands, right there, from right here. I'll get you some measurements in just a sec. Alright, so to remove these components, these are 3/8 on both sides. Just unscrew them and pull it off from the other side. I took a flathead for these little kind of windshield braces when you flip the hood up, and basically just pushed it in like this all the way around, and it ended up popping through. And then for the little windshield sprayers, these just pop off if it's stuck on there really good. You could take like some needle nose pliers and grip on and just kind of twist it back and forth like that until you break the seal, and then it just pops off. And then you take some needle nose pliers and you just basically grip here and push it through. So go ahead and remove all that. And then there's two ways you can do this. I'm going to do it the lazy way, and I'm just going to put some cloth down here for where I cut. It is recommended that you take the hood off. Obviously, my Jeep isn't the nicest, so I'm not really that concerned. But go ahead and do that next so we can place the template on top of the hood. So I got this all taped down. I guess I should say the reason I'm putting a louver on is I want to keep my engine bay a little cooler, particularly at lower speeds. Really good for rock crawling or romping around out in the desert. That's the main reason I'm doing this. Obviously, my rig isn't in pristine condition. This is for messing around in. So if this isn't on perfect, to me, it doesn't really matter. And I don't think it'll matter even if you want this on perfect, or if you want this to look really good. I don't think it'll matter, because look at the main thing. You can see where these air holes are. The main thing is lining up like that windshield bumper thing, the windshield washer, and then that bar right there. Those have to line up perfectly in order for this to fit right. These holes that we're cutting out, the main thing, so you have a support beam in the center here. That's obviously why we're not cutting a bigger hole. If these are off by a few millimeters, it's really not a big deal, because you could see where the air holes are. The cut is probably going to go, somewhere along here. However, you can see where it bolts is a little bit over to the side there. So really your line is going to be somewhere in here. So it's off by a few millimeters. It's really not going to make a big difference. So I'm not super concerned about that. The main thing is that all of these pre-drilled holes all have to line up perfectly. So go ahead and get this taped. Depending upon how you're going to cut this, there's a couple of ways. You can drill each one of these, and then take either some type of reciprocating saw or something to cut along your line here. I'm going to be using an angle grinder with a cutting wheel, so I don't plan to drill. I'll let you know how that goes as I cut through here. So that's the next step. You're going to go ahead and start cutting out these 4 sections here. Let's go ahead and do that next. So reading the instructions, you're actually supposed to drill holes on these, because obviously when you cut, you're not going to have these, it's just going to rip off. So I'm doing it one way. The instructions, if you have an inch diameter wheel cutter here, hole saw, you're supposed to drill a pilot hole, the center of these, and then drill the circular hole there. I'm doing it the lazy way, and I just put a single hole. So basically I'm going to take this off, and I'll show you in a sec. I'm going to mark it just with a straight line from hole to hole, so I know where to cut for all of these. I did have an issue up top here. Even if I was cutting that center hole out, there is the brace here that this line actually goes over the brace. The brace kind of extends into these holes a little bit. The same with back here, and then up front here, be careful on that too. Part of the brace for the hood under here that goes this direction is very close here. So watch out for that as you're drilling these holes. So with those pinpointed out, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting. So go ahead and do that next. So as you can see, I got one of these back corners cut out. There's some brace here, so try not to cut into that. I knew that I had plenty of room here and here to cut all the way through, and I tried to cut just barely through on these edges here, and then I just took a screwdriver and popped it up, and I was able to just bend it back and forth until it popped off. So be very careful, like I said there, and try to not nick any of that, or especially don't cut into any of it. If you nick it, it is what it is, but it's going to be the same on this side too. All right, so here's what it is cut out. Like I said, it doesn't matter that it's perfect because it's obviously all going to be covered. The main thing is that if you're off by a couple millimeters, it's really not going to matter because of where everything bolts in. The main thing is lining up all of those holes already on the hood. So next, you need to either take a file or I have my angle grinder. I'm going to switch it from a cutting wheel to a grinding wheel. And I'm going to grind all these edges so that they're not sharp. And then, it's a long process, but you need to clean this all up. So, take a hose to it if you took it off of the Jeep, or like a sponge and a bucket to be able to clean all this up. So go ahead, once you're finished cutting everything, file or grind these edges so that they're not sharp because you're going to need to paint them. So go ahead and do that next. So I actually put this back on because it covers a lot really well. See, I left some edges so that when I paint it, it will be protected from rust. So you need to make sure I'm getting some spray paint that has rust protection. Doesn't really matter the color, obviously, because it's going to be covered. So I just put something under the engine here, and I'm going to use a piece of cardboard to kind of block so I don't spray too much. So go ahead and spray. I'm going to spray from both the top, and then I'm going to pop it open and spray from the bottom to make sure that I get it all covered. So go ahead and do that next. So now I'm going to take this template off. You can see that I have painted everything and it's all dry. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put the louver on and at least temporarily reinstall those windshield bumpers here, and then make sure that the windshield washer fluid lines line up perfectly. So go ahead and do that next. So I got these bolted down here. This is just a rubber not gasket, but you can pull it up to here. Mine kept getting caught and not looking good, so and then I got these bumpers through. They took quite a bit of work yanking it through. I put back on the windshield wiper fluid. It's not going to sit on top of this. This is actually a big enough hole that it's going to go around it. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put a bolt. If you don't have a good enough drill bit, you should definitely get a punch so you can punch so it doesn't get all squirrely on you. But basically you're just going to use this as a template and screw through. So I'm going to put one at each corner. And then I'm going to go through and do each one. I bought some Loctite because I don't want this coming undone. So go ahead and get started. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do all four, and then I'm going to go all the way around and do the rest of them. So what I ended up doing was I'm actually doing the back row, and then I'm going to work my way forward. Did these three and then those three. It's kind of hard to reach when it's hooked on. You either need two people, someone to hold it over here and you to reach around, or you need really long arms. Something I have noticed with my hood, at least, and my drill bit, is I thought that my bit was going dull, but you can see it's catching a bit and getting stuck, and now it'll work fine. So I was having that issue, so watch out for that. I can see it's starting to stick up, so I'm doing a couple at a time here, but then once I get down this row, I'm probably just going to do it one at a time, so that it folds down properly and I don't mess anything up and it goes down well. So go ahead and just keeping at it. So tightening it around, kind of going a couple at a time on each side. While it took a lot longer to do it that way, everything lined up perfect. My couple of things, obviously tighten everything back down, your bolts, pull those through, reconnect your windshield wiper or windshield washer fluid lines. I had a couple both at the back, right where the bolt kind of caught on that lip, and I ended up just using an open wrench. My bolts were 3/8, so just kind of depends on your kit. I also had the same thing up here with the lip on these two here, and then these 4 up here were right in kind of the curvature of the hood there, so just be careful on that. I ended up, you could see on at least one of them, I indented it in just a little there. It is actually a little more noticeable in person than on camera. But, I mean, this is my beater, so I don't really care. But if that's important to you, watch that very closely. Don't tighten that too much like I did. Again, I would strongly suggest using Loctite in order to keep those bolts from coming undone. Because obviously this is my off-roading rig. That's why I did this. I wanted to keep this engine bay a little cooler, let some of that heat escape. So anyways, that is how you install a louver on the hood of a 1999 Jeep Wrangler. Again, this is the Sahara. So hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching.